Today, we're stepping back to explore how Bangladesh was born, not just on a map, but in the hearts of its people through struggle and sacrifice. We'll trace the pivotal events from 1947 to 1971 that shaped this nation, a story often overshadowed but vital to world history. This is about identity, language, and the right to self-determination. How did a people, separated by 1,000 miles from their supposed countrymen, realize they were a different nation? From the chaos of partition to the birth of a new flag and anthem, this is the story of East Pakistan's transformation into Bangladesh. Let's dive in. 1947. The British leave India, but not before splitting it into India and Pakistan. Two nations, one for Hindus, one for Muslims. But Pakistan was a country in two parts, west and east, separated by 1,600 kilometers of India. East Pakistanis were mostly Bengali, different language, culture, and history from the West. Power, money, and the military were all controlled by the West. The East generated wealth, but the West reaped the benefits. For Bengalis, it felt like trading one set of rulers for another. The two-winged state was unstable from the start, built on religious unity but ignoring deep cultural divides. West Pakistan's leaders saw Bengalis as lesser, treating the East as a colony. Resentment simmered as Bengalis realized they were second-class citizens in their own country. The foundation was shaky, and the sense of injustice was growing. This was not a partnership. It was a powder keg. The seeds of revolution were sown, and soon they would ignite. In 1948, Pakistan's government declared Urdu the sole national language. For East Pakistan, where most spoke Bengali, this was an attack on their identity. The government's message, "Your culture doesn't matter." Bengalis protested, demanding Bengali be recognized. The movement peaked on February 21, 1952, when police opened fire on student demonstrators in Dhaka. Martyrs fell, but their sacrifice galvanized the Bengali population. The government eventually gave Bengali official status, but the damage was done. The language movement proved Bengalis were distinct and willing to fight for their rights. The dream of a united Pakistan was fading. A new dream of a free Bengal was taking shape. The struggle for language became a struggle for nationhood. The journey had only begun. The language movement awakened East Pakistan. In 1954, the United Front, a coalition of Bengali parties, swept provincial elections, demanding autonomy and an end to exploitation. Their victory was a clear rejection of West Pakistani dominance. But the central government dismissed the United Front, imposing governor's rule. Democracy was sabotaged. The people's voice silenced. This betrayal deepened the divide. Bengalis saw their votes didn't matter. The hope of partnership was gone. The East was pushed closer to the edge. The struggle shifted from reform to resistance. The people's patience was running out. The call for justice grew louder. The stage was set for confrontation. Political chaos led to military rule in 1958. General Ayub Khan seized power, banning parties and suspending democracy. For East Pakistan, things worsened. Economic disparity grew, and Bengalis were sidelined in government and the military. The wealth of the East funded development in the West, while the East was neglected. Cultural suppression intensified. The regime saw Bengali pride as a threat. Ayub Khan's decade of development was a decade of decay for Bengalis. Repression only built pressure. The Bengali spirit wasn't crushed, it was compressed, ready to explode. The demand for autonomy was about to erupt. By the mid-1960s, Bengalis were done waiting. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of the Awami League unveiled the 6-Point Movement, a blueprint for autonomy. The 6 points demanded a federal system, with East Pakistan controlling its own economy, currency, and paramilitary force. The West saw this as a threat to their power, a step towards secession. The regime cracked down, arresting Mujib and thousands of activists. But Mujib's arrest only made him a symbol of resistance. The Agartala conspiracy case tried to paint him as a traitor, but it backfired. The 6 points became a rallying cry for freedom. The movement united Bengalis like never before. The call for autonomy was now unstoppable. The struggle had a leader, a plan, and a purpose. The road to independence was clear. In 1969, frustration boiled over into mass uprising. Students, workers, and ordinary people united, demanding change. Protests paralyzed East Pakistan. The regime's violence only fueled resistance. Martyrs like Asaduzaman Asad and Sergeant Zahurul Haq became symbols of sacrifice. The government lost control. Ayub Khan was forced to release Mujib and step down. Mujib emerged as Bangabandhu, the undisputed leader of the Bengali people. The uprising toppled a dictator and crowned a new leader. But the fight was far from over. The people's revolution had begun. The demand for autonomy was now a demand for independence. The movement had unstoppable momentum. The final confrontation was approaching. The world was about to witness history. After Ayub Khan, General Yahya Khan promised free elections in 1970. For the first time, Bengalis could win a majority in Pakistan's National Assembly. The Awami League, led by Mujib, campaigned on autonomy, the 6 points. A devastating cyclone struck East Pakistan. The West's slow response deepened resentment. The Awami League won a landslide, an absolute majority. Mujib was the democratically elected leader of all Pakistan. But West Pakistan's rulers refused to hand over power. They stalled, conspired, and delayed the National Assembly. The people's mandate was denied. The hope of peaceful change was crushed. The stage was set for a final, tragic showdown. The dream of democracy was betrayed. The call for independence grew louder. March 1971. Tension gripped Dhaka as the West stalled on transferring power. Mujib launched a civil disobedience movement. East Pakistan ran itself. On March 7th, Mujib's historic speech rallied millions. This struggle is for our emancipation, for independence. While talks dragged on, the Pakistani military prepared a brutal crackdown, Operation Searchlight. On March 25th, the army unleashed terror attacking universities, neighborhoods, and anyone suspected of supporting independence. The goal was to crush the Bengali spirit through fear and violence. Mujib was arrested, but not before sending out a declaration of independence. The message Bangladesh was born, and the fight had begun. Operation Searchlight failed to break the people. It ignited a war. The genocide shocked the world. The people's resolve only hardened. The struggle for freedom became a war for survival. The Night of Terror marked the beginning of Bangladesh's liberation. The world could no longer look away. The final battle had begun. Mujib's declaration, broadcast over radio, called on Bengalis to resist the occupation. It transformed a movement into a war for national liberation. The message was rebroadcast by military officers, inspiring hope and unity. The Mukti Bahini, freedom fighters, rose up, joined by defecting soldiers and civilians. Leaders formed a government in exile in India, giving the struggle legitimacy. The world was forced to pay attention. Bangladesh was now a state fighting for its existence. The call for freedom echoed across the globe. The next 9 months were brutal. Genocide, mass rape, and millions of refugees. The Mukti Bahini waged guerrilla war, making the country ungovernable for the occupiers. India, overwhelmed by refugees and provoked by Pakistani attacks, intervened. In December 1971, Indian and Bangladeshi forces launched a swift offensive. The Pakistani army collapsed. On December 16th, they surrendered in Dhaka. Bangladesh was free at last. The cost was immense, millions dead or displaced. But the spirit of the people endured. The world watched as a new nation was born. The red sun of freedom rose over a green land. Bangladesh's struggle became a symbol of resilience. The dream of independence was finally reality. Bangladesh's journey from partition to independence is a testament to resilience and unity. From language martyrs to freedom fighters, the people refused to let their identity be erased. The struggle didn't end in 1971. Challenges remained, but so did hope. Bangladesh's story is one of courage, culture, and the power of a united people. Learn more, remember, and honor this remarkable history. Thank you for watching.